body of rights and duties, which does in fact create the person that they act upon. Now, if John gets stopped, he's traveling down the road, he's driving, and he's speeding, and the cops stop him and they ask him for his license, he's not going to be able to give him the hunting license and claim that that right there is sufficient for this body of rights and duties. So what you end up is, with one human being, you can have innumerable different persons associated with that one human being. So when, let's say, the health club, if his membership expires or he decides that he no longer wishes to associate with them, he can actually erase that person, and in so doing, free himself from any of the burden of the rights and duties. So if he erases that, bye John Doe, bye health club. Now he loses the rights and duties that were associated with that health club membership with that person, but the human being still in existence, and he can still, if he wants, open up his own health club. What I'm asking that you realize is that as a human being, when I say you have a person, that is true. You do, but you have numerous persons likely. And this is why you, as the living, breathing human being, cannot claim to be acting as an agent for this principle, which is what many people try to do. If you say you're an agent for the John J.A. Doe who has a hunting license, and you try to claim that you're agent for that, well then here you are. This J.A. Doe is merely evidence of this right here. And now you're claiming that this right here negates that. And that's why the courts refused against it. It's very difficult for you, John Adam Doe, the true living, breathing human being, to engage in a contractual relationship that creates an agent relationship, an agent association with something that exists only because of your previous application. Now, there does seem to be significant confusion as to what a free man on the land is and what one can do with it. Pretty sure I see where the confusion stems. I'd like you to watch a little clip from an online buddy of mine, a man who has a great deal of my respect. He says some things here with which I agree strongly, and some things with which I do not agree at all. But it's the anti-terrorist, and I'd like you to take a little short boo at some of this.
Hello friends, I am the anti-terrorist. I hope that you all got to this meeting of the minds safely and without incident. And I hope that you will all enjoy the next few hours or the next day that you spend together in sharing these ideas and concepts. Looking around you now, you can see how fast this movement is growing, or not, as the case may be. I hope there's more than a handful of you. Unfortunately, I cannot be there. I'm not in the country at the moment. My respect goes out to the organizers. It takes a great deal of courage and hard work to get something like this together. I know from my own personal experience. As you're going through your curriculum today, I hope you'll consider the nature of what a free man on the land is and how it pertains to commerce and your engagement in this activity. Commerce is here. It's been here for thousands of years. Those of you who came to this meeting today, who have already filed your affidavits, no doubt have gone through at least 5 or 6 avenues of commerce just to get there, whether it be buying petrol, using a credit card or cash, getting a train, paying for food. See, commerce is all around us. There is no escape from it. It is what it is. I would advocate that you learn to navigate the seas of commerce as opposed to jumping ship. It's a very lonely, wide, deep ocean out there. And unless you're on a ship, unless you're sailing it, and unless you're in control of it, you don't have a lot of options, in my opinion. So my advice to you is to reconsider the free man option. Reconsider leaving the society. Reconsider relinquishing your national insurance number.
Okay, now this is what I have a bit of an issue with here when he starts talking like that. I certainly do recommend that you make up your own mind. However, he is operating upon an assumption which is entirely false. He points out that you engaged in commerce, or that people engaged in commerce to get to a meeting. Entirely true. And then he makes mention of the essentially what is a SIN in Canada, a social insurance number, and he implies, the inference is that you need that in order to engage in commerce. This is false. Now, as a ward of the state, you are restricted from engaging in certain lawful activities merely because you're a child. So let's say you're here and you're a child, little happy child, and you have a parent. Now, you want to go to a store and you want to buy something. Now, of course, the parent can just go there. The parent can go to the store and purchase or sell, but in essence, engage in commerce. However, if you're a ward of the state and you're acting in a manner which is essentially you're a child, then you do, if you want to go to the store and engage in commerce and buy candy, then you might need the permission of your nanny or of the state of your ward. So permission would be necessary in that point. Now, does this mean that if you want to engage in commerce, that you need your SIN or your permission from the nanny in order to engage in these activities? Of course not. The things that you can do as a child with the permission of the state are things that you can do if you come over here and you grow up. You no longer exist with a nanny giving you permission, but this does not mean you can't buy petrol, you can't operate an automobile. It doesn't even mean you can't get a driver's license and use it for specific purposes on the road as a freeman on the land. So the assumption that he makes with his address there is that because we have been conditioned to associate a certain body of permission, a certain amount of permission with the act of commerce, the assumption is that that permission is required to engage in that commerce. But that is only the case if you are operating as a ward of the state. If you're not a ward of the state, you can engage in all the commerce you want. So it's not so much jumping ship. It's more like walking on water. And if you do really need to keep with the ship analogy, become captain of your own ship. So you're not jumping ship by becoming a free man on the land. And he makes reference to society, and he says, well, keep your membership in society, but again, I gotta say, AT, you disappoint me. What's the name of the society you suggest that they maintain an association with? Can you tell me that?
You guys who are planning on checking out of the system, my question to you is, how are you going to get your gas and your electricity and your water? These utility companies have a monopoly and they refuse to contract with you on a private basis. They need your person to be able to give you those things, and you need your person to get them. So unless you're going to live in the forest and use the methane escaping from your dung heap or your compost pile, my recommendation is that you use your person wisely. I hope you all have a wonderful, educational, inspiring day, and that you all leave from this event more empowered and more knowledgeable than when you came. Thanks for listening.